Yung ngayong day 6 natin, naka-live stream po si Ma'am na YouTube. Po. Tatype ko po yung ano ha. Naka-live po tayo sa YouTube. Kasi ngayon lang pala ngayon lang po lumabas yung ano, yung akin po.
Sige po, ma'am.
Magandang ulit.
O yung cooperation natin, syempre makikita tayo ng kahit sino po ah. Yes. So ito po yung sa YouTube nakalagay po sa chat natin. Yan po ako pupunta, ma'am. Okay, so good morning po sa lahat.
Morning po.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, as we start our class today. Yes po, yung basics natin is recorded po. Nakita niyo na po sa ano, para pwede niyo rin siyang mabalikan. This is the day 6. Naka-live na po tayo. So ito po yung ating so we're going to start na po. Morning po.
Morning, ma'am.
So pag-usapan natin today is about the etiquette. This is the basic internet etiquette for e-learning. How to succeed in e-learning. Paano daw po ba yun? Follow the instruction, study hard, attend your class, take note, submit requirements on time, participate in activities and discussion, avoid all forms of dishonesty. So the etiquette is the basic internet etiquette for e-learning. How do we make sure that we get communicate and interact effectively with facilitator and learners in our e-learning class? Paano daw po ba yun? By the use of this etiquette. What is an etiquette po ba? Etiquette is the internet etiquette na kakailanganin natin gawin during our online class. So unang-una po is we should be respectful for one another. So susundin lang natin kung ano po ba yung sinasabi ng ating teacher or ating instructor, ating guro. Then, igalang po natin kung ano po yung ginagawa ng bawat isa. So, ibig sabihin, kung tinawag ko po si Ma'am Maylin Rojas, wag po tayong sasabay na nakabukas ang ating voice, nakabukas din ang ating camera. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano yung gustong i-clarify ni Ma'am Maylin Rojas, hindi na po yun ma-clarify because meron pong sumasabay na nagsasalita. Okay, then next natin, take e-learning seriously, of course. Sa pagkakandak natin ng e-learning na ito, okay, so hindi lang po tayo natututo, of course, yung ating teamwork with one another is naandun din. Sa panong paraan yun? Of course, if we take this class seriously, yung pagkatuto po is palaging nandun. Okay, be presentable. Yun naman ang palagi kong sinasabi. Maging maayos tayo sa lahat ng oras during our online class. Read first instruction and scroll through trend before you comment. Kung for example is ano po kaya yung pinag-uusapan nila dito sa GC? Bakit ang dami na nilang nilalabas ng mga or isinesend sa GC ng mga image? So that is the time po na nakita nyo maraming ganung images na lumalabas. So ang gagawin lang po natin doon is ano po? Mag-backread tayo. So pagka nag-backread tayo, doon natin malalaman ano ba yung trend ng pinag-uusapan nila. Ay kailangan pala magpasa ng ganito, ng ganyan. Next natin, use proper languages. Yung tama pong pagsasalita, okay, na may paggalang. Yun ang kinakailangan natin dito sa online class. So mind your expression. So sabi natin dito, huwag tayong magta-type na naka-all caps. Alam naman natin, sa unang pagsasalita natin or una pong ita-type natin na letter dun sa sasabihin natin, it should be capital letter. Tama po ba ako? Kahit naman sa pagsusulat ng sentences, di ba? The first letter that we need to write on the paper or sheet of paper should be in a capital letter. Hindi pa pwedeng buong malalaking pangalan or malalaking letra. Kasi para mong sinisigawan yung kausap mo noon. Use proper language, avoid using emoticon, humor, sarcasm. Yung mga bad emoticon, huwag na natin yung gamitin during our online class. Or yung pagka tayo po ay nag-comment and meron tayong gustong i-clarify, lalo na kung nasa GC tayo or meron tayong ita-type sa email. Cite your sources, kung saan ang galing yung itong ginagamit mo or isinesend mo, gamitin mo kung saan website siya. Down on that, pinasa ninyo, lagay nyo reference o kaya naman www.wikipedia.com.ph. Be precise. Okay, direct or objectives and beliefs with your comment. Okay, avoid posting or comment on the things not connected on the subject. So yun lang yung sinasabi ko. Kung ano lang po yung patungkol sa pinag-uusapan natin sa GC, yun lang. Wala nang magsisenta sa inyo doon ng Shopee sale, Lazada sale, Okay, so tulungan niyo po ako makabuo ng ganito ganyan. Kasi makakagulo pa yun dun sa pinag-uusapan or dun sa said topic natin doon sa ating GC. Explain and clarify. When providing a comment or opinion on a discussion or topic, explain your understand and clarify what it means. Support your answer with the proper references. So, identify what and whom you are referring to. Para kanino po ba yung sinasabi ninyo? That's why we keep on saying, good afternoon or good morning at Ma'am Jubel Villanueva. So, Ma'am, clarify lang po. Again, November 8 po ang ating face-to-face po. So, what are the things we need to bring? Okay, so syempre kahit na alam naman natin lahat na na-post na yon for the past days natin sa GC, of course, we need still to post ano po ba yung napag-usapan nun. Kasi some of us, hindi sila makapag-backread because of data lang sila or naglalag ang kanilang internet. So this is the world of, diba sa atin, ito ang mundo natin ngayon, ang online class. So we need to help each other para mapagtagumpayan natin ang ating online class. Use standard font. Okay, pag nagsusulat tayo, standard font would be Arial. 10 points or 12 points po ang acceptable natin. Next is prepare your activities and be on time. So yun nga yung mga pinapagawa sa inyo na tama naman po na isi-send niyo ito sa inyong GC. Okay, those are the activities na kinakailangan din po ni Ma'am Jubel. Napatunay po ito that we have our class. Wait for your turn to be called. Once na tinawag ko, Rowena Velasco, for example, that one, o sasagot ko, open cam, open mic, and then sagutin ko ano yung tanong ng teacher. Hindi pwedeng magsabay ng open mic at open cam si Ma'am Maylin at Ma'am Maylin Rojas at Ma'am Rowena. Kasi hindi po maiintindihan ni Ma'am kung ano po yung gusto nilang itanong, gustong isagot. Okay, secure, confidential information, of course. Huwag natin i-share kahit kanino yung mga password natin. Bakit po? Kasi this is a confidential things. Okay, there you go. Keep this in mind and I'm sure you're succeeding your e-learning course. You have question with our netiquette? Wala po tayong katanungan sa ating netiquette po.
Wala naman.
Okay, so I'm going to check the attendance po. I'll be checking first the attendance of my trainee today. So who are my trainee today po? Nakapasok sa klase ko. Okay, so open your cam and then say present po. Mary Jane Xiong po. Are you here po, ma'am? Ito po ba? Si Mary Jane Xiong po. Marian de la Cruz. Andito po ba si Ma'am Marian de la Cruz? Marian de la Cruz. Melody P. Reyes. Melody P. Reyes. Accept ko na to si Ma'am kanina. Melody P. Reyes.
Nasaan po?
Okay. Rosel Tulfo Ospin. Ma'am Rosel, are you here?
Po.
Sarah Angelica Patangan. Sarah Angelica Patangan. Next. Okay, so Renina Tuazon.
Present po.
Tuazon.
Present po.
Okay. So, wala po dito si Ma'am ano po, no? Si Ma'am Marian, wala po. Si Ma'am Patangan, wala din po. Denina Tuaso nandito. Maricar Icaronom. Maricar Icaronom, nandito po.
Present po.
Yes.
Karano po, ma'am.
Karanom
po.
Yes po. Okay, thank you po. Miss Sherilyn Nina, nandito.
Present po.
Stephanie Bengua. Buktong Shaina.
Present po, ma'am.
Jennifer Binag.
Present po.
Maylin Rojas. Ma'am Maylin Rojas, are you present? Okay. Gallardo Janeline.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am Evelyn Cadarao.
Present po, ma'am.
Jana Rose Perlas.
Ma'am, present po.
Mary Grace Lauson. Ma'am Rowena Velasco, you're here.
Present, ma'am.
Mary Ann Verses. Ma'am Mary Ann Verses.
Present po.
Jemerlyn Sanggalang. Jemerlyn. Juanita Raquel. Ma'am Juanita Raquel. Ma'am Rosalie Peregrino. Ma'am Rosalie Peregrino. Andito po, Rosalie Peregrino. Baloloy Joela. Ma'am Daidora Maureen.
Good morning, teacher.
Morning po. Sabidonia Arlene. Candes Aldrin.
Good morning, ma'am. Present po.
Okay po. Okay, so for the checking of attendance, nakikita po yung aking sinishare sa inyo, which is, we're done with the checking of attendance today. So now, we're going to proceed with what are the core competency po. Ano na yung nakapaloob talaga? Ano na yung pinaka-main topic natin dito sa bread and pastry? Those are the prepare and produce bakery product, prepare and produce pastry product, prepare and present gato, torts and cakes, present and display petit four, present a dessert. That's why I keep on telling you that you need to have a packaging for each the product na magagawa natin o maibibake ninyo. Kasi nakalagay dito, as you look at to this prepare and display petit four, and then we have the present a dessert. Kailangan nating maipresenta ng maayos yung ating bakery product. Naintindihan ko, ating pastry product, ating gato, torts and cakes. So, yung paggagawa natin ng bawat i-bake natin, presentable dapat. Kasi mahirap naman po na, syempre nagte-training tayo tapos nakalagay sa plastic ng malabo, di ba po? So, ibig sabihin, wala yung presentation na pinag-uusapan natin doon. Hindi natin na-conduct based sa core competency yung needed na present a dessert. Kinakailangan niyo yung matutunan. Kasi nga, during our assessment, for example, prepare and produce bakery product, titignan ko sa inyo, na i-present niyo po ba yung inyong bakery goods ng maganda, ng maayos? Isa kasi yun sa titignan po sa inyo ng assessor. Yung inyo po bang pastry na i-present niyo po ba siya? Yung inyo po bang gato, torts and cakes na i-present niyo po ba siya? Yung po bang inyong cakes at ang inyong petit four at ang inyong round cake, Swiss roll, yung mahabang cake po na roll at saka yung maliit na apat na 1 by 1 or yung bite size po na sukat ng inyong petit four is na i-present niyo po ba? Lahat kasi yung titignan kung may presentation. May tanong po ba tayo? Kung wala na po tayong tanong, let's proceed po. Prepare and produce bakery product, that is our topic today. So pag-usapan muna natin sino po ba or ano po ba ang chef uniform. Chef uniform, ito po ay binubuo ng talk. Ang tawag natin sa chef hat or chef, okay, yung ginagamit na sombrero ng mga chef or ng mga bakers, talk ang tawag natin dyan. So sabi natin dito, 100 folds initially significant status. So yung positioning daw natin doon sa isang tindahan. So ibig sabihin, today worn for protective purpose. Dati daw po ang 100 folds, it also signifies 100 ways to cook egg. Ibig sabihin, kung pagka ang suot mong talk ay meron po daw 100 pleats, ito po yung pinag-uusapan natin. Meron daw po itong 100 pleats. Ibig sabihin daw po nun, 100 ang pamamaraan na alam mo kung paano lutuin ang itlog. Naintindihan po ba natin?
Yes, ma'am.
Next natin. We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
now the coat or ito po yung double-breasted to cover up spills and heavy cotton to insulate from heat. Before, si Marie Antoine Karen, siya yung kauna-unahang sabihin natin celebrity chef. Ibig sabihin, she is a princess. Okay, siya yung gumawa ng style ng chef uniform na kailangan merong chef hat. Ang chef hat niya nung araw is 18 inches po ang taas niya. More or less, bawasan mo lang ng 2 inches or 4 na inches ang ruler natin. Pag pinagpatong mo yun, parang 2 siyang bond paper, ganun ang laki niya. 18 inches siya eh. 18 inches po yung chef hat ni Marie Antoine Karen. Tapos, ang kanya pong chef uniform or ang kanyang coat po is nababaliktad. Ibig sabihin natin, if ito po yung ating suot na double-breasted, na itatali yon. Kapag ka, syempre, nasa kitchen siya, nagluluto siya eh. Kapag ka medyo dirty na yung part dito sa left, tatali naman niya yun sa kabila, sa right part. So, kasi nga, kailangan continuous yung pagluluto niya para at least dire-diretso yung pagluluto niya. So, yun yung naisip niyang pamamaraan. Kaya lang nga po, sa atin po kasi, yung ating coat po is yung ating mga chef uniform, isang positioning lang talaga siya. Meron lang siya talagang botones. Ganun yung style po ngayon ng ating chef uniform or ang ating mismong coat. Okay, this is a double-breasted to cover up spill and heavy cotton to insulate from heat. Apron, nire-record na dapat tayo ay may apron to add protection from spill and hazard. Pants, loose checkered pattern pants distract from spill and allow movement in the kitchen. Kaya makikita ninyo, yung parang sabihin natin, ma'am, bakit para namang checkered talaga, parang uniform ng mga ibang mga high school student. Yun kasi yung pantalon na nire-required pagka ikaw po daw ay nasa kitchen. Kaya lang po yung iba, pag nasa higher position na, black pants na po ang pinasosot sa kanila. Pero wala po kayo makikita na ang black pants na suot nila ay hapit na hapit sa kanila na parang maong. Kasi mahirap gumalaw pagka ganun, lalo na kung ikaw po ay 8 hours ka pong naka-duty sa kitchen. So, syempre, pawis na. Papawisan ka talaga doon kasi hindi naman naka-aircon vision ang loob ng kitchen. Next natin, ang ating sapatos. Resistant black leather shoes prevent for falls para hindi po tayo madulas. May tanong po ba tayo?
Wala naman.
Yes po. Tutungo po tayo sa history of baking po. Okay, for the history of baking natin, puntahan na po natin ang ating history of baking. Nakikita po kung ano yung sinushow ni Ma'am Jubel.
Yes po.
Okay, for the baking history po, okay, so this is for the Unit 1 Introduction to Baking. Demand for trained bakers is on the rise. Baking in America, world history of baking, the emerging role of the bakers becoming a successful baker, The 4 cardinal rules of baking. So ito daw po yun. So, the demand for trained bakers is on the rise. So, syempre, bakit po daw ganon? So, syempre, sa baking natin kasi, kailangan po is more rises na tayo. Kailangan natin, kailangan po maging in demand na yung bakers, yung pagiging bakers natin. Okay? Pagiging pastry chef natin. So, that's why, yung pagkakaroon ng bakers, dumami na po yung nagsulputan yung mga branches na yan, na kung saan kailangan na po nila ng mga magiging tauhan nila. According to the Occupational Outlook Book for 2004 to 2005, approximately 173,000 workers were employed as baker. So, knowing the year, 2004 to 2005 pa ito. So, ano na po yung taon natin ngayon? So, meaning to say po natin, ngayong taon po is mas marami na po tayong kinakailangan ng mga bakers. Kaya ang dami pong sumusulpot ngayon ng mga online seller din po, di ba? Kasi kung minsan, lalo na nag-pandemya, sa bahay lang nila ginagawa yung kanilang pag-bake. The report also indicates a rise by the year of 2010. Professional bakers work in the following venues. Ano daw po yung mga venues na to? Wholesale and retail bakeries, catering companies, supermarket, restaurant, hotels and resort, cafeteria, factories. So, ibig sabihin po natin, ito daw po yung mga lugar na kinakailangan ng trained bakers. May tanong po ba tayo? Kung wala na po, let us proceed. World history of the baking. It all started with bread. Bread was the simplest act of crushing wheat, adding water, and left unattended, in which bacteria is the form of natural yeast become present. Then it baked on a hot rock to solidify. Okay, bread, okay, came with its civilization. So, nanggaling daw po sa iba't ibang sibilisasyon ang paggawa ng bread. The fermentation of yeast was the start of biotechnology. Kung paano daw po nila nalaman na kailangan i-activate si yeast, kailangan muna siyang i-ferment para ito po ay maging pampaalisa natin sa tinapay. Okay, by the use of biotechnology. Nangyari daw po yung, sabi natin, yeast fermentation because of the biotechnology. So, hindi naman lahat yun na pagka nakita mo tong buto na to, alam mo agad na, ay, dapat ganito gawin natin dyan. So, pinag-aaralan po lahat. Kaya, di ba, merong tinatawag na instant yeast, may mga ganong uri ng mga yeast ngayon. Next natin, the first gear of wheels were probably used to create the first flour mills. The art of mechanics came from the needs for bread. The grasses such as wheat, rice, barley, oat, and later corn were cultivated as a bountiful food source. Eastern civilization cultivated rice. The Western world grew the grain of wheat, rye, and corn. The grain were first crushed by the hand with a mortar and pestle. The Egyptian used a simple grinding stone called a quern. Tatandaan natin ano daw ang tawag natin doon, Ma'am Mary Ann verses, ano daw po ang ginamit ng mga Egyptian para i-grind daw po ang mga tinatawag natin, mga palay.
Ano po? Simple grinding stone called a quern po.
Okay, thank you po. All bread were unleavened at first. So, iniiwanan lang nila yan. Di ba, familiar kayo sa mga Egyptian kahit sa Ten Commandments, meron na rin talaga silang tinapay doon. Pero flat yon, hindi siya nakahulma ng bilog or pandipagong or kaya naman loaf bread, hindi po. Flat lang po yung tinapay nila doon. All bread were unleavened at first. Grain were produced along the Nile River. Okay, so ganito po yun May pugon sila. Familiar kayo dyan? Sa pugon na yan. Are you familiar with that po? Ganito,
Opo.
diba, yung mga nakikita natin sa mga old movies, ganito sila nagluluto. Pero, base sa mga history na pinapakita ngayon, some of the provinces and also dito sa Pasig, meron pa rin gumagamit ng ganitong pugon. Like yung panaderia de Masalang, yung mga panaderia na gumagawa ng, what do you call this one? Sopas. Hindi siya yung sopas na may sabaw. So, meron daw po yung sopas na biskuit na ginagawa daw po yan sa probinsya. Okay? Inform ko lang po lahat ha. Tayo po ay recorded po.
500. Bakit? Wait lang. Ano ba yan? Saan ka ba galing?
Okay po. So may katanungan po ba kayo sa pinag-uusapan natin? Anong taon daw po ba ito yung sinasabi natin? Anong taon daw po ito? Yes, Ma'am Shongko.
Yes, ma'am. Paulit po ng question, ma'am.
Opo. Anong taon daw po ba na meron ang mga Egyptian use sa simple grinding stone called quern?
800 BC to 3000 BC po, ma'am.
Bali, Ma'am, 8,000.
Ay, 8,000 BC to 3000 BC po, before
Okay.
Christ.
Yes. Ma'am Melody, yung mga grains daw po ba, saan daw po ba siya pinoproduce? Anong uri ng river?
Nile River po.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. They also harvested barley, corn flakes, dura, form of mixture, growing grains to spread to the Balkans through European and Britain. Every Egyptian developed bread baking and brewing beer, which introduced yeast. Leaf bread were formed. Egyptian invented the closed oven. Bread was used instead of money, and the workers who built the pyramid were paid in bread. So, ibig sabihin, nung araw din po pala talaga, hindi yung mga gumagawa ng pyramid, yan daw po ay binabayaran nila ng tinapay. Okay? Bread was used instead of money, and the workers who built the pyramid were paid in bread. So, yung mga Egyptian daw po, ang binabayad sa kanila ay tinapay. So, during 1000 BC to 300 BC, yeast wheat bread became popular in Rome. A circular quern was developed. This was a circular stone that on a fixed stone. So, ito po yon yung quern. Sa mga provinces natin, sa mga lola natin, sa probinsya, meron pang ganyan yung panggiling nila ng munggo. Familiar ba kayo doon? Yung malaking magkapatong na bato, tapos iikutin nila yon. Tapos may butas doon, doon mo ipapasok yung seeds, iikutin yon. Pero hindi pwedeng almost 1/4 cup ang ilalagay mo doon. Pakunti-kunti yung ilalagay mo doon. Tapos makikita mo para na po siyang powder. Are you familiar po dun sa sinasabi ni ma'am?
Opo.
Okay, in Rome, the first baker's guild was formed. Pag sinabi natin baker's guild, ito yung samahan ng mga bakers. Diba? Parang sinasabi natin may mga propeta. So ito naman, sila naman ay samahan po ng, okay, pag sinabing guild, this is a group of bakers. Romans developed the first mechanical mixer that used horsepower. Rome, okay, made a law that all bread should be given on all males. Igad sa babae, sa lalaki lang siya pwedeng ibigay. Rome made a law that all bread should be given to all males for free. Paano ang babae? Grains were now being dried and stored for a long period of time. So, ibig sabihin, pinatutuyo na nila yung mga palay. Tapos, okay, pag pinatuyo nila to, magagamit pa nila to ng matagal na panahon. Pakamute ang mic, salamat. Okay po, let's proceed po. During 50 AD to 600 AD, Saxon and Danes settled in Britain and introduced rye. Persian invented the windmill, which improved the quern so it could use the heavier stone. Bakers' Guild were now regulating the cost and size of the bread baked. Bread was now becoming a status symbol of in Britain. Okay, the rich ate white, the merchant ate wheat, and the poor ate barn. So, yun na raw po ang basihan kung ikaw po ay nasa mataas ang estado sa buhay, mababa ang estado sa buhay, at pinakamababa ang estado sa buhay. That was during 50 AD to 600 AD. Okay, in Pompeii, there were a community baker's oven. So, ito yon. Sa Pompeii po ito ha, ito naman yung windmills na nakakatulong para mas mapadali yung pag-grain ng mga palay. Okay? During 1150 AD to 1266 AD, the Industrial Revolution. So ano nangyari nung Industrial Revolution? Wait lang. During 1150 AD to 12,000 to 1266 AD, King John introduced law governing the price and profit that could be made on selling the bread. So ibig sabihin, may process pala na kung saan hindi lang basta na kailangan ibenta natin ito. Hindi pala sinabi na ay kailangan, di ba? Kaya ngayon may mga online selling na nagbebenta tayo. Kaya tayo natuto na kailangan gumawa ko ng tinapay, kikita ko. The first bread subsidy was given out. It was 12 pennies for 8 bushels of wheat to be formed into bread. So marami-rami yon. Ilan yon? 12 pennies. Ang tawag kasi nung araw sa pera is 2 pennies, 1 pennies. So ganong karami yung 8 bushel of wheat? 8 bushel of wheat. Kasi yan yung halaga ng pera nung araw, 12 pennies. So 8 bushel of wheat to be formed into a bread. So 'ibig sabihin, ang 10 pennies ay equivalent sa 10 cents nung araw. 10 cents, 12 pennies, ibig sabihin 12 centavos. Yun yung halaga ng pera nung araw. So, $0.12 katumbas nga ang per basel daw po ay katumbas ng 60 pounds. May tanong tayo doon. So, ibig sabihin, per basel ng wheat, 1 centavos, katumbas niya ay 60 pounds. Naintindihan po natin. So, ang laki nun, ano? 60 pounds. So meron tayong 27.21 kilo. Kung meron tayong 27 point, ibig sabihin more or less parang ano na yan, kalahating kaban, isang basel, di ba? May tanong tayo? Do you have question po?
Wala po, ma'am.
Yun. So, ganun yun ha. The first bread subsidiary was given out. It was 12 pennies for 8 basel of wheat to be formed into a bread. So again, Mr. Aldrin, ilan po ba yung katumbas ng 12 pennies natin? Ilan ang katumbas niya sa centavos?
Nakalimutan ko. Hindi po yung kung ilang sako.
Hindi po. Magkano ibabayad mo sa sako? Okay, babalikan ko si Sir Aldrin. Yes, ma'am. Yes po, Ma'am Janina Tuazon.
10 cents po.
Okay, so pagka meron tayong 1 penny, katumbas ng 1 centavos. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Opo. Thank you po. Pagka sinabi natin 12 pennies, katumbas ng ilan yon? Yes, Ma'am Janina.
10 cents po.
12 cents siya. Kasi isang penny, katumbas ng isang centavos. Sir Aldrin, ikayo po, ilan pong ang katumbas sa centavos ng 12 pennies?
Nalilito ako doon, ma'am eh.
Okay, so, sige, bakinig ka lang muna si Sir. Yes, Ma'am Perla.
6 cents, ma'am. Or 60 centavos.
Okay, so ulitin ko ha. So, ibig sabihin po, kapag ikaw ay may 12 pennies, ang katumbas po ng isang penny ay isang centavo. Isang cent. So ngayon, meron kang 12 pennies. So ibig sabihin, dapat meron kang ibabayad na 12
Centavos.
Yes, 12 centavos. Sir Aldrin, clear na sa iyo?
Medyo po, okay na po.
Okay, sige po, clear na po. Yes, Ma'am Janina, meron pong gustong i-clarify?
Kalimutan lang, baba.
Okay. Next natin, ang 8 basel of wheat to be formed into a bread. Ang 8 basel daw po, ang katumbas nito ay 60 pounds. Ang 60 pounds, ang katumbas daw po niya sa kilo ay 27.21 kilo. Naintindihan po natin. 27.21 kilo, tatandaan natin, ang isang basel. 8 basels of wheat to be formed into a bread. So, ibig sabihin, 60 pounds times 8. Ganon kadami yung harina na ibibigay sa'yo kapalit ang 12 pennies. Naintindihan po ba natin?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Opo.
Next, sieves were formed from Chinese silk to produce finer white flour. Ibig sabihin ng siever, ito yung salaan. Salaan po natin ng harina. So meron tayong typical na alam na salaan, di ba? Yun yung ginagamit po natin na strainer. Pag magsasala tayo ng may sabaw, kailangan mo lang yung pinakalaman, so dun mo siya sasalain. Dito sa atin, pag sinabi natin siever, sieves. Ibig sabihin, ito yung bilog lang, parang shape siya ng round tray, pero yung ilalim niya, ngayon kasi bakal na rin yung ginagamit dun, para siyang chicken wire yung nasa ilalim niya. Ganun yung ginagamit na panala. Yun yung nakalagay sa ilalim. Pero nung during 1150 AD to 1266 AD, daw po ay ang atin daw pong sieve ay ginamitan ng Chinese silk para ma-produce ang whiter flour. Okay, 70% of the bread eaten was white. Baking tins were now being used to make bread, which allow it to be sliced and toasted. The sandwich was invented. So this is during Industrial Revolution. Ang sandwich was invented. The Industrial Revolution begins. Baking in America begins. In 1850, 2.027 bakeries were established through the USA. Ganong karami daw po ba ang na-establish na bakery during 1850, Ma'am Miss Daidora? 2,000 to Hindi siya 2,000.
Bali, 2,027 bakeries po were established.
Okay, thank you so much po. By 1850, there were two mixing methods for bread making. They were the straight and sponge dough method. Pag sinabi natin straight dough method, if this is the mixing bowl, ilalagay mo lahat dito yung harina, lahat ng ingredients, diretso ka na sa pagmamasa. Pero pag sinabi natin sponge dough method, dalawa yung bowl mo, yung isa, tatlong bowl mo yung isa, para po dun sa yeast na ipe-ferment mo pa for about 15 to 30 minutes. Kailangan siyang mabuhay. Next, ito namang isa natin, yung kabila. Ito naman daw po ay nakalagay dito ang ating dry ingredients. Example natin nun ay harina. Okay? Harina, asin. Those are the dry ingredients. Pag sinabi naman po natin na liquid ingredients, sugar, nakalagay din dito ang ating itlog, ang ating water, milk, oil. So those are the example of liquid ingredients. Ma'am, bakit po ang asukal ay nasa liquid ingredients? The sugar identified as liquid ingredients because it is made from liquid, turned into solid. Galing po ang ating asukal sa tubo, kinatasan tubo. Familiar tayo lahat sa tubo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
sugar cane. Pinipiga yun. Pag napiga yun, nakatas na yun, ipe-ferment ngayon, lulutuin naman yun para ma-form as asukal. That's why sugar is categorized as a liquid ingredients. Question po?
Wala.
Okay. May tanong ba tayo sa straight dough method at sponge dough method?
Wala po.
During 1850 AD to 1900 AD, ano ang mga nangyari? Ay, sorry po. So, ang nangyari daw po, that was 1868, Charles Fleischmann marketed compressed yeast. Pag sinabing compressed yeast, ito na po yung nasa isang lalagyan na talagang naka-compress siya, naka-well-sealed siya. The indirect oven was established, which removed the direct fire and placed it behind or below the oven. That is the indirect. Ito po yung Fleischmann yeast. Nakikita niyo siya? Hindi siya yung powder, hindi siya yung durog. During 1893, the Simon and Will Company of Cincinnati, Ohio built the first gas-fired oven. Ulit. So sabi natin that the indirect oven was established which removed the direct fire and place it behind or below the oven. Kaya pala nung unang panahon, pugon lang ang gamit natin, right? Pag sinabi natin pugon lang yung gamit natin, So isa sa loob ng bahay natin, nandun na rin siya, di ba? So may malaking open yon. Doon may papasok yung ibe-bake. Pag naipasok mo na yung ibe-bake mo doon, makinig tayo maigi, direct yung apoy nun. Pero nung 1868, okay, nag-establish daw po ng oven na kung saan is behind, okay, behind or below the oven. Nasa pinakaibaba yung apoy, sa taas yung niluluto. Naintindihan po?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the real oven was developed in 1896 by A.J. Fish and Company. During 1878, Hunter and Sifter Company introduced the first mechanical mixer. During 1895, the first dough divider was designed by the company as Duchess Tools Company. During 1900, improvement to transportation introduced refrigeration, which altered the American diet. Okay, during 1904 AD to 1929 AD, 1904, the Allops bleaching process was discovered, which whitened the flour in less time. During 1906, the Food and Drug Act was developed to protect the flour from adulterization. In the 1900, the Food Drug Act, FDA, okay, ito na, diba? Food and Drug Act introduced wheatless day, which were Monday and Wednesday, in order to promote fruit and vegetable. Kaya mapapansin niyo sa Amerika, talagang nasanay sila na kanin nila ay tinapay. Satisfied na talaga sila doon. For example, a hamburger pero full pack naman ang laman nito with the vegetable, with the patty na minsan tatlo pa yung patty nun, di ba? But in between that, meron pang mga spread, meron pang nakalagay dito na mayonnaise, pickles, may nakalagay na lettuce, tomato, okay, mustard. So those are the, okay, sometimes those are the dinner or the lunch or the merienda of the American people. Okay, then during 1901, B.H. Kroger was the founder of Kroger Grocery and Baking Company, introduced the first baking chain store. He had 14 bakeries that sold to 42 retail store using a double-decker, okay, draw plates stack oven. Ano ba yun? So ito na yung double-decker. Napapansin yung double-decker. So nasa ilalim po yung apoy, sinisindihan dito. May mga ganyan na rin po ngayong style ng oven, di ba? Pag sinabi natin double-decker, dalawa po yung gumaganang oven, magkapatong yan, double-decker. During 1939 AD to 1945 AD, 1936 enriched flour was introduced by adding vitamins and iron to flour. 1940, women were offered jobs in bakery instead of staying home, and home delivery of bread began. So ibig sabihin, mga babae na yung nagiging bakers natin. That was 1940s. Tapos nagkakaroon na rin ng delivery. Kaya makikita nyo to, oh. Ito yung mga delivery truck nung araw. Parang small jeep. During 1943, during World War II, the War Food Order number 1 provided the mandatory enrichment of all white bread. The American Baking Institute of Chicago transformed their campus into a training facilities for the U.S. Army and Marines Bakery Field Officer in support of the World War II. Ibig sabihin, nagkaroon po daw, okay, nagkaroon po ng pagkakataon na yung mga Marines at saka yung mga, okay, US Army po, sila po ay tinrain, okay, para at least gagawa sila doon ng tinapay para dun sa mga soldiers na lumalaban sa World War II. Then, during 1950 AD to present, bakeries engaged in home deliveries. Bakeries went from semi to full automation in the early 1950s. During 1963, film wrapping machines were introduced. During 1968, wholesale baking increased in size and profit, while the multi-unit bakery sales increased, the profit did not. Okay, then during 1970, saw an increase in supplies, especially sugar, which jumped price by 50% to $71.95 per 100 pieces po yan. In the early 1990s, artisan bread gains popularity, which was a move back to the traditional method of baking. Pag sinabi nating artisan bread, talagang sila yung mga nagpo-formulate, gumagawa talaga sila ng tinapay. In the late 1990s, everything was highly automated, and the use of enzyme and dough conditioner helped extend the shelf life of the product. During 2004, robotic systems were used for storage, retrieval, and makeup system. So ito na po yung modern bakeries ngayon. Do you have question po?
None so far, ma'am.
Okay. So wala na po tayong katanungan. Okay. Pupuntahan po natin ang NEO LMS. Lahat na kayo nasa NEO LMS, tama po ba ako?
Yes po.
Lahat na po nakaka-access na. Doon sa mga nahihirapan po doon sa apps, pwede naman po kayong gumamit ng doon sa mismong Google Chrome, doon kayo mag-type para at least mas makita nyo siya ng buo. Mas makikita nyo kasi siya ng clear.
Ma'am, doon po ba yung may sasagutan?
Ano po yon?
Ma'am, doon po ba yung may sasagutan?
Ma'am, palakas pong konti, hindi ko po marinig.
Ma'am, doon po ba yung may sasagutan?
Ito po yun, ma'am. Ito na po yun sa, punta tayo
NEO
sa
LM.
definition.
Sige.
NEO LMS po. These are the definition of terms po natin. Acidity. What is acidity? Sourness. Okay, is the taste caused by the presence of acid in the solution. Different type of fermentation produce different acid. When milk sour, okay, lactic acid is formed. When the vinegar is made from apple or grain, okay, acetic acid is formed. Sour rye bread is made by addition of sour or ferment containing bacteria which produce various acids, most probably lactic and acetic. So acidity po, kung minsan gumagawa tayo ng sour milk, gatas lang po yon at saka po suka or minsan calamansi or minsan lemon. So kunyari gagawa po tayo ng red velvet. Ang red velvet ay merong sour milk. Okay, so ito po yung red velvet po is chocolate cake din siya. Bakit siya naging red? Nalagyan siya ng somewhat ng food color to make it red na parang maroon. Tapos meron siyang kahit sa sa red velvet gumagamit talaga sila ng ganun kasi mas nagiging moist daw po kapag merong sour milk. Next natin, alcohol. The alcohol formed during the fermentation of sugar by yeast. Is ethyl alcohol the same alcohol found in beer and whiskey? No po, kasi ang ating tinatawag na ethyl alcohol, this is the chemical as ethanol. Okay? Pag sinabi naman natin na alcohol, that is the process during the fermentation. Nagkakaroon na ng process yung sugar at kasi pinakain mo na ng matamis si yeast eh. Nilagyan mo siya ng warmness kasi nilagyan mo siya ng warm milk. So mabubuhay na, mag-a-activate na si yeast. Si yeast hindi po pwedeng sobrang init ang ilagay mo na tubig o gatas. Sobrang lamig naman ang ilagay mo na gatas. Hindi pwede kasi hindi siya mag-a-activate. Hindi mabubuhay si yeast, mamamatay. Naintindihan po natin? Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ambient temperature. Temperature of the surroundings. Area, room temperature. Antioxidant, a materials which when added to a product extend the life of the product by protecting it against oxidization. Appearance, visual stimulation whether or not it looks attractive. Ascorbic acid, this is the vitamin C. Baking time. Time taken to complete the baking process. Boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. Baking out. Bake for the full extent. Bake or baking. This is the subject food to heat inside an enclosed area or oven. This is the process of baking the product. Naintindihan po, or cooking the product by the use of oven. Baker's flour. Flour which produce dough, having good gas retention, properties, and strong elasticity, usually associated with higher protein content. Batches, given quantity determined by the amount needed. For example, Ma'am Jubel tell you to have okay, so, kaya tawag tayo ng ating estudyante. Kaya sabihin natin, Miss Daidora and Ma'am Peregrino, gawa ka po, Miss Daidora, ng 2 batches po. Ibig sabihin, 2 recipe ang gagawin mo ng dinarol. Pag sinabi ko, Miss Peregrino, gumawa ka naman ng 2 batches po ng tart. 2 recipe din yung gagawin mo sa magkaibang lalagyanan yon. Pwede din naman kung malaki yung bowl mo, pwedeng 2 na po yung ilagay mo doon. 3 batches. 3 recipe yun. May tanong tayo?
Wala
Bind.
po.
Wala po.
Wala na po. Thank you po. Bind. Combining 2 or more ingredients to form a mixture. You are binding to form a mixture. Creaming, the process of beating sugar and fats for the process of incorporating air. You are doing the creaming method. So, ibig sabihin ng creaming method, sa isang bowl, lagay mo na dun si fat, tapos lagay mo ng sugar. Pero yung paglalagay natin ng sugar, hindi pa pwedeng diretso, hindi pa pwede na ibuhos mo lahat. Alternately add, hindi alternately add. Pakunti-kunti yung lagay mo ng sugar. Okay? Tapos ibibit mo. Bakit? Kailangan kasi ibit mo siya para pumasok yung air. You are incorporating air, right? Once that you incorporate air, may binabati mo siya, nagpapasok ka ng, ng hangin dito sa binibake mo na nag-cause kung bakit gumaganda yung mixture niya. Pagka naman nagbibit ka ng para sa cake, nag-incorporate ka, so nagkakos yun kung bakit nagkakaroon ng body yung baked goods natin. Bakit siya umaangat, maganda yung pagkakaluto niya, hindi lang dahil sa oven, because of how we beat the baked product and also the icing. Okay, that is the creaming method. Ducking. Punching a number of vertical impression into a dough so that the dough will expand uniformly without bursting during baking. So, ibig sabihin, you are, punching, pinapunch mo yung dough. Bakit mo siya pinapunch? Para maging even po siya. Okay po? Next natin, dusting flour. Okay, a flour used to prevent sticking of product to the bench or equipment. Egg wash. Egg or egg yolk with some milk or water added for brushing product prior to baking to improve coloring and to give a glossy skin when baked. Yes po.
Sentences, wala naman
Yes,
dito.
Elasticity, the property whereby dough regain their original shape after being or having been stretched or otherwise distorted. Pagka, diba, sinasabi natin, naka-form ka na ng gluten sa dough mo, may elasticity na siya, so pag ibinaba mo siya, still, okay, sabihin natin, dough pa rin siya, hindi siya napupunit because of the elasticity. Enzyme, a substance produced by living organism which has the power to bring out changes in organic materials. Next, fermentation, the chemical change of an organic compound due to the action of living organism. So, ibig sabihin, nagpe-ferment ka, binubuhay mo yung yeast. Ano ba yung yeast? Bacteria ba to?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so ang yeast, kailangan, this is a so-called good bacteria to kasi nakakatulong to sa atin, okay, na kung saan is nag-e-expand po yung ating baked goods because of the yeast. Formula, recipe, given ingredients, amount to be used, and a method of combining them. Gelatinize, heated water entering a starch granules, retuttering it and allowing the content to spill out and form a colloidal suspension. Glaze, a coating that is applied to bake product for protection and appearance. So for example, this is your baked goods. Kung meron po kayong baked goods, kailangan nyo pong mag-glaze. Okay, so i-glaze mo siya. Pag sinabi ito yon, pwedeng i-glaze mo siya. Ganun mo, i-dip mong ganyan, may glaze na yon. Pwede naman i-drizzle mo siya, igaganon mo siya ng, ito yung donut mo, i-drizzle mo siya ng chocolate syrup tsaka strawberry syrup. Gluten, the protein of wheat flour which combined with water forming a rubbery mass which retain the gas and stream in baking and gives value to the product. Okay, gluten, the protein of wheat flour which combined with water form a rubbery mass which retain the gas and steam in baking and give volume to the product. Kneading, to manipulate dough by folding and pressing until the required consistency is obtained. Knead, minamasa mo siya by kneading by the use of the heel of your hands. Lindo, a dough that is not very rich in fat, sugar, and egg, or one that contains a smaller percentage of these ingredients than the average. That is a lindo. Leavening, risen or lightened by air, steam, or gas. Leavening, ito yung mga ginagamit natin pag sinabing what are the leavening ingredients or leavening agent. Pag sinabi, ano yung mga iba't ibang uri ng leavening agent natin? Ano-ano yung mga uri ng nagpapaalisa sa ating mga baked goods? We have the yeast, baking powder, baking soda, steam, kasama po ito. Okay, next natin. Leavening agent, ingredients used to introduce carbon dioxide like yeast or baking powder. Molding. Okay, manipulation of dough to provide the desired size of the shape. Molding. For example, kailangan natin ng sukat ay 5x3 lang po yung ating round tray. Doon mo lang ilalagay yung cake. Tapos sinabi natin, 4x9 naman ang kinakailangan nating tray para sa Swiss roll. Doon mo imo-mold yung cake mo. Okay, next natin. Oxidization, the coloring of certain fruits due to exposure to air. Fruit, the rise of yeast dough during proving, usually referred to as the amount of increase in the volume of the product after being shaped. Proofing tayo. Ibig sabihin, nag-proof ka. Okay, pinaalisan mo na po yung baked goods mo. Proof. Okay, to rise yeast dough during proving. This is, proof is for American. Proof is for Australian. Prover, a cabinet into which yeast goods are placed before baking. Prover. Leavening agent, ingredients used to introduce carbon dioxide like yeast, baking powder. Quark, a mild tasting curd cheese. It is moist in texture and used in filling and topping. That is a quark. Pero hindi na tayo gumagamit niyan dito kasi nga medyo high-ended siya tsaka medyo costly yung ano niya, yung price yun. Medyo mahal pa yan. High ang price nito, quark. Rich dough, one that contains more than average of the enriching ingredients, fat, sugar, and egg. Shortening, fats or oil used to tenderize baked goods. May iba't ibang uri tayo ng mga shortening, katulad po ng lard, margarine, oil, and then ulit, butter, lard, margarine, and then oil. Pag sinabi natin ang butter is made from cow's milk, animal's milk, kaya sinasabi nga buttermilk. So, hindi lahat ng nakabalot ng parchment paper or nakabloke na nabibili natin sa supermarket or grocery are so-called butter. They were all categorized as butter na nakalagay sila doon sa isang istante kasi pag ito ay nainitan, may tendency siyang matunaw. Kaya nasa chiller siya. Babasahin nyo ang nakasulat sa labas. Butter, margarine. Our margarine is made of plant extract, extracted from plants. Pag sinabi natin na lard, this is came from the fat, animal fat. Pag sinabi naman po natin na oil, this is made from what? This is made from extracted seeds. Okay? Extracted, for example, sa corn, di ba? Corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. So those are extracted by, seeds po ito. Ulit, butter is made from cow's milk. Lard is made from animal fat. Margarine is extracted from, vegetable plant. Dito naman po ay seeds, extracted from seeds, ang oil. May tanong tayo? Do we have any question with regards to what I am discussing po? Wala po?
Wala po.
May I proceed po? Sifting. To pass through a fine sieve for effective blending, for aerating, and to remove foreign or oversized particles. Sinisip. By the use of sieve po ito. Ibig sabihin natin, sinasala natin sifting or sieve or sieving. Skinning. The drying out of forming of skin on uncovered dough. Skinning. The drying out and forming of skin on uncovered dough. Ibig sabihin, ito yung dough mo, pagka pinerment mo siya at hindi po ito nalagyan ng damp cloth, yung damp cloth natin, ito yung basahan, medyo basa lang siya, ilalagay mo siya dun sa dough mo para hindi po siya matuyo. Pero since nga po, sabi natin, gagamit tayo ng cling wrap. Pag hindi mo kasi kinover si dough, pwede po siyang mag-dry. Yan na yung tinatawag natin na skinning. Slack dough. Dough containing excess water. Slack dough containing excess water. So ito yung parang hindi mo siya ma-form na as a dough. Dough siya, tinapay siya yung mixture niya, kaya lang nasobrahan ka dun sa water, so ang tendency po nun is naglulusak siya. Okay? So pagka minamasa mo siya, dumidikit sa kamay mo, or kuminsan lahat na ay nasa kamay mo. Water absorption. Water required to produce a dough of a desired consistency. Flours vary in ability to absorb water. This depends upon the age of the flour, moisture content, wheat from which it was milled, storage condition, and milling process. May tanong tayo. So we have here the video of pandesal. Paano ginagawa yung pandesal? Dapat makita nyo rin ito. So this is how we made the pandesal. So these are how to make a pandesal. And these are now the dinner roll. So So, panoorin niyo siya mamaya. Okay, then, of course, you need to answer the self-check. These are now the self-check that you need to. Okay, so lagi niyong tatandaan, dapat meron pong take quiz. Pagka sinabi natin, ma'am, hindi ko po makita yung sa new LMS po. Hindi ko po makita sa new LMS, ma'am, po yung ano, kung paano po gawin yung, kung paano po sasagutan. Hanapin niyo yung merong take quiz. Okay, so these are now the prepare and produce. So ito na po yun, yung kanina sa baking ingredients. Okay. Select required commodities according to recipe and product requirements. Flour. It is the prime grain that flour is obtained from the baking industry. So, ang starch niya, ang starch ng flour is meron siyang 64 to 71 degree, 64 to 71% ang starch niya. Ang protein niya is 9 to 14%. Tatandaan nyo, ang harina daw po ay meron siyang 14%, 9 to 14% protein. So yung protein content kasi natin dito, nagbabago yan. Depende kung ito po ba ay all-purpose flour, bread flour, cake flour, sugar. Yung sugar daw po ng harina natin is 2 to 4%. Moisture niya is 11 to 15%. Ang fat niya is 1 to 2%. Okay, ang starch niya is 70. Ito na po yun. Okay, so ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Gluten is formed when insoluble protein. Glutenin and glutamate are hydrated with moisture, normally water. So, ang isang harina, pagka nababasa daw po ito, pag nababasa daw po ito, nagpo-form to ng gluten. So, yun yung parang nagiging dough-like siya. Pero kapag ang ating cake flour nilagyan niyo ng water, hindi po siya magiging dough. Naintindihan po kasi mababa lang ang protein content nito. Okay, so these are the sugar, enzyme. Okay, production of flavor. Impart flavors during fermentation through flavor substance such as organic acid, okay, ester alcohol, and ketones. Nutrition, yeast is rich in protein and vitamins. Okay, so back to what we are discussing po. Sa production ng flour natin, of course, nandiyan pumapasok yung nutrition. Available forms of yeast. Okay, we have the compressed, dried, and cream or liquid. Again, ang yeast natin, we have tatlong uri. Ang ginagamit natin dito sa atin, sa magiging face-to-face natin is dried. Okay, so sa ibang bansa, they have the compressed, dried, and cream or liquid yeast. Okay, ang acidity niya raw po ay 4 to 6 pH range. Outside the activity is lower. Yeast quality. Okay, lower qualities of yeast will result in longer proofing. Kapag ka daw po yung yeast na ginamit natin ay hindi masyadong maganda, matatagalan tayong mag-proof, matatagalan ang pag-alisan yung tinapay natin. Okay, remember, yeast is a living thing. It needs to be cared for and used properly. Water. Anong nagagawa ng water? Okay, dissolve and disperse salt and sugar and carry sugar to the yeast. Provide moisture for yeast to grow. Paki-mute po ng mic natin. Salamat po, participant. Okay po. Ulitin po natin. Ang water po, it gives hydrate, it dissolve and disperse salt and sugar and carry sugar to the yeast. So ang water, nakakatulong din siya, it gives moisture. Sa kahit saan naman, di ba? Nakakatunaw din siya ng mga ating mga dry ingredients po natin. It provides moisture for yeast to grow. Hydrates dry yeast and disperse both dry and compressed. Control dough temperature. Bread improver ensures additional food supply for yeast. Contain malt, which is changed into maltose and changes starch into simple sugar easily fermented by yeast. So ito po yung mga ito yung mga iba't ibang uri ng nagagawa ng mga ingredients. So nakikita niyo po ito. The bread normal 2%,
Yes,
2%, 5 to 7%. Fruit lobe, 9 to 15% croissant, broches up to 5%, up to 50%. So ayan po 'yun. Okay, effect of the fat, improves slicing, softer crumbs, shorter eating crumbs, softer crust, better keeping qualities, increased volume, shorter eating crust, emulsified fats, retard crumbs. So ito po 'yon. Milk powder. So the food standard stipulate that milk bread contains 4% non-fat milk solid on the dry crumbs. The purpose of this regulate is to increase the food value in protein and minerals content. Therefore, skim milk powder reduced fat is mostly used. Pag sinabi natin skim milk, skim powder, yun ang gagamitin natin. For example, ma'am, gumamit na po ako ng gatas, fresh milk. Pwede pa rin po ba akong gumamit ng powdered milk? Yes po, pwede pa rin po kayong gumamit ng powdered milk. Kaya lang nga po, medyo magiging costly na po yung inyong skim milk kasi to, medyo mahal tong gatas na ito eh. So, pero hindi natin siya pwedeng i-level sa pagkamahal sa Nido, sa beer brand. Iba kasi na tong may mga pangalan na to eh. Ito naman ay Milk Boy ang pangalan kasi nitong skim milk natin. So, healthy po itong powdered milk na to. So, kung minsan makikita ninyo sa ibang mga bakery, ito din po yung ginagamit nila. For example, may gatas na nasa ibabaw ng kanilang produkto. Powder milk din po yon, skim milk din po yon. Healthy po siya, healthy po yung skim milk. Sometimes ito yung ginagamit din pag gagawa kayo ng pulburon. May katanungan po ba tayo dito? Okay, so dried fruits, nuts. So napakadami po nating mga ingredients na ginagamit pagdating sa baking. Baking, pagdating naman sa pastry, madami din tayong ginagamit. So tignan nga natin ano ang epekto ng mga dried fruits and nuts, eating qualities, texture, flavor, color, increased moisture, increased shelf life, and better visual appeal. So ito yung mga mixed nuts. Okay? Prepare variety of yeast goods to desired product characteristic. Variety of yeast goods. So ito na po yung mga iba't ibang uri ng yeast goods natin. The student should reach the following and find required information. Evolution of the product was is cultural, religious, and commemoration of an event. Very few products were just invented. Okay, they evolve over time. In the modern world, customer crave variety and producers are able to introduce new variety from other countries very easily. Okay. So ito na yon. Panaton. Ito yung croissant. Okay, then this dedicate and porous rich festive bread in studded with sultanas and flavored with candies, citrus peel. Okay, it is baked in tall cylindrical mold and can be served with cream and fresh mascarpone. So those are the mga ano yan sa ibang bansa. Gingerbread dough. So ito yon. Gingerbread. Honey cake. This is from Israel. This cake is traditionally served on Sabbath and at festival, particularly at the beginning of the new year. That is the honey cake. Para siya, it seems like ano, banana cake, ano. So, curry, ito naman ay sa Greece. Okay, this traditional sweet bread can be found during any major religious festival. Its flavoring component can be many as each family or baking professional have their own favorite. Most popular are orange, lemon, vanilla, cinnamon, allspice. Okay, so dito tayo natapos for today. Stolen Germany po dito tayo natapos. Okay, so for today po, so we are now 17 po. So can I ask each one of you to open cam po for the 2 shots lang po ng ating okay, so dalawang shot lang. Next po, another. Okay, may I know naman po. What have you learned for today? Ma'am Rosel, what have you learned for today po? In a simple words lang po before we leave each other po. Babalikan po natin. Ma'am Rosel, babalikan ko po kayo. O sige, Sir Aldrin, what have you learned po?
Tulad nung ano ma'am, yung binabayad yung kung ano po yung binabayad dati sa mga gumagawa ng pyramid,
Okay.
tinapay po. Parang ngayon ko lang po na ano yun, during ano, bago mag ano pala yung panahon ni Kristo, dati na pala may mga gumagawa ng tinapay.
Yes po. Thank you, Sir Aldrin. Ma'am Daydora.
Yes, teacher. I've learned about the history of bread or making breads. Tapos yung mga klase ng oven na ginagamit simula nung una hanggang modern na tayo. Then the importance of the ingredients, tapos kung ano po yung ambag nila or ginagawa nila doon sa project natin na tinapay. Thank you po.
Okay po. Thank you po. Okay, next natin. Yes, Ma'am Jennifer Binag.
Good morning,
Po.
ma'am. At yun pong tungkol sa current, yun po yung current po, yun po yung grinding stone ng Egyptian.
Okay. Next po. Thank you
Tapos
po.
yung sa Nile River po, kung saan po.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you po. Kung saan naman po ginagawa yung ating bread. Tama po ba? Okay. Next po, Ma'am Melody Reyes po.
Yes, natutunan ko po today is yung tamang gamit, definitions ng mga ingredients for baking, like yung mga yeast, kung ano po yung mga purpose nila, tapos yung iba-iba pong mga basic na meaning po nila at kung saan po sila ginagamit.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Ma'am Rowena po.
Ma'am, natutunan ko po ngayon yung about history of baking. Tapos yung sugar po pala categories as liquid ingredients. Tapos yung mga taon po, kung paraan at paraan nila ginagawa yung mga tinapay. Tsaka definition and terms po.
Okay. Sige po. Close muna natin yung mga cam kasi hindi ko alam kung saan ako titingin sa inyo. Ang dami nyo naka-open. Close muna natin po para at least yung isa lang po. Para sa kanya lang ako nakatingin. Okay, so Ma'am Rosel. Yes, Ma'am Rosel. Makakasagot na po ba? Okay, Ma'am Maylin Rojas. Makakasagot na po?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Ano po, ma'am, yung talks po, yung 100 split means 1 ways to cook egg. Tapos
Okay po.
Yung 10 cents po, equivalent to 10 pennies. Tapos po yung bashels po ba tawag doon? Yung 60 pounds.
Hassle.
Yeah. Saka po yung seeds, yung salaan po ng harina. Saka po yung ducking, yun po pala yung punching of flour. Yun po.
Okay, thank you po. Ma'am Melody Reyes. Yes po, Ma'am Melody Reyes.
Ma'am, done na po ako.
Okay, Ma'am Rowena Velasco.
Ma'am, na rin po ako.
Ma'am Rowena.
Ay ma'am, natutunan ko po ngayon yung history of baking. Yung straight and sponge dough, yung mga taon po kung kailan nila ginawa yung mga tinapay, saka yung definition and terms po.
Okay, thank you po. Ma'am Janina Tuwason po.
I learned about the baking history and the first oven na ginamit until the modern ovens.
Okay
Thank
po.
you.
Next po, Ma'am Maricar.
Hello po, good morning. Yung natutunan ko po today is yung about sa history ng baking, yung corn po, tapos kung saan pinoproduce yung grains, tapos yung definition of terms na related sa baking, tapos yung mga ingredients po na ginagamit sa baking, tsaka kung paano po nakaka-epekto yun sa mga binibake natin.
Okay po. Gallardo Janeline. Yes po, Gallardo Janeline. Yes, Ma'am Evelyn.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning po. Ma'am, I've learned the history of baking and ingredients, and I also learned that the chef uniform is consist of top, coat, apron, and shoes.
Okay. Joella Baloloy.
Hi ma'am, good morning po. Natutunan ko po yung history ng baking and paano po nagbago yung paraan ng pagluto at yung mga importance po ng ingredients na kailangan. At saan po ito nagsimula, saan po galing. Yun
Okay,
po.
thank you po. Next po. Ang Galyardo, ready na po. Okay, Ma'am Shaina muna. Ma'am Shaina.
Hello po. Yung natutunan ko po ngayon, ma'am, about baking history po. First oven, chef's new uniform, production of flavor, saka yung meron pong sa yeast po, merong nutrients and protein po. Saka meron din pong vitamins. Yun po. Thank you po.
Okay po. Morning po. Nasaan si Ma'am Bengua? Stephanie, good morning po. Let me inform you that we have our YouTube live and this class is recorded po. Okay, so ulitin ko po pakikuha po sa chat po ngayon kung ano yung natin, live stream natin. Tapos i-copy nyo na lang po dito sa chat natin. Para pwede nyo po siyang mabalikan. Ano po?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so wala si Ma'am Rosalie, no? Wala si Ma'am Rosalie. Ma'am Perlas, kayo po.
Ayun, ma'am, natutunan ko po sa history ng bread is yung naging batayan pala yung bread. Kumbaga naging parang yung estado ng buhay, malalaman mo sa kinds ng bread na kinakain nila, ma'am. Yun po.
Okay, thank you po. And then, I want you, di ba kahapon pinagawa ko po kayo ng about sa plants, do, check, and act. Tama po? Ngayon naman po, pwede po kayo mag-drawing, pwede po kayong mag-craft pwede kayo mag-drawing sa papel, mag-craft kayo sa cellphone nyo gawin using some apps po. Gagawa po kayo ng yung pangalan nyo, ano po yung apelido ninyo. For example po, ay sabihin natin, gamitin natin yung apelido ni Ma'am Jenina Tuason. Tuason Bake Shop. Tapos sa ilalim nun, maglalagay po kayo ng tagline nyo. Sa ilalim nun. Kunyari, ang lalagyan ng logo ni Ma'am Tuason nyo, nag-drawing siya ng cupcake. Tapos may heart sa ibabaw, yun ang kanyang logo. Okay po. Tapos, maglalagay po si Ma'am ng tagline niya doon. We bake, you eat, we are happy. Yun ang nakalagay na tagline ni Ma'am Janina. Diba? Sabi natin. For example, we have cupcake. And then, for example, we have now, naiintindihan po ba yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Jubel?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Okay, so I'm going to cite an example. So, para at least alam niyo po yung gagawin. For example po, I'm going to crop. Natin dito, I'm going to. Okay, so. For example, this one po, I'm going to insert na lang. Going to insert po nito para paano lang po ng konting time pa po para at least alam niyo po yung gagawin dun sa niyo. For example, ito po yung aking logo. Tapos nilagyan ko po dito. Bigay ko po dito ang Villanueva Bake Shop. Ginandahan ko yung font ko.
Signage po pala, teacher.
Logo po itong ginagawa natin, ma'am. Opo.
Logo po ng bake
Opo.
shop.
Tapos, talagyan po natin dito sa baba. Okay? So, ano yung binigay ko? For example, ito. We bake it and happy. So, for example, yan po yun, ha? For example, yan na po yun. Tapos, dito sa baba, ano yung gusto mong maging itsura ng chef uniform mo? Tapos, lalagyan mo siya ng label. Kunyari, gusto mo ba yung ano mo, yung chef uniform mo is ano? For example, ito. So, ito yung chef uniform mo. Sample lang po ito, ha? Sample, this is, okay, lagyan natin ng title.
Ma'am, excuse po ma'am, pwede po makita yung sample?
Hindi ko po sinashow.
Hindi po.
Ay,
Hindi po,
sorry
ma'am.
naman po. Sorry po. Hindi ko pala, ayan. Nakikita niyo na po?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
teacher.
So, ito po yun. Tapos, for example, syempre ito, lalagyan mo siya ng, mag-i-insert ka dyan. This is the, maglalagay ka dito, mag-i-insert ka. Ano naman yung i-insert mo? So, syempre, maglalagay ka dito ng, cloud. So po, pwedeng yung may cloud na ganyan. Tapos nakaganito lang. Tapos ano po ba ito? Kasi pwede nyo siyang palitan ng kulay. Kunyari, drawing nyo siya. Gusto mo yung lining nito is violet. Tapos yung mga lining dito, violet and yellow, yun yung mga lining niya. Pwede po yun. Tapos talagyan mo to ng sulat. So sabihin natin, magta-type ako. So lalagyan ko to ng sulat. So ano ang tawag natin dito? So ito yung what do you call this one? The chef jacket. So ano tong chef jacket mo? So it is, okay. Ano ang purpose nito? To protect. Okay. To protect against the spill. Parang katulad nung ipinakita ko kanina sa inyo sa chef uniform, ganun po yung gagawin nyo. Nakukuha po ba? Parang ganito po. Ganyan po yung gagawin nyo. Naintindihan po ba natin? Chef uniform. Nakukuha po ba? Nakikita po ba yung pinapakita ko?
Yes,
Hindi.
ma'am.
Yes po.
Ano po yung pinapakita ko?
Chef uniform.
Chef uniform po.
Ito po, ganito po yung gagawin nyo. There's a top, there's a coat, there's a pants, apron. Pero, depende po kung ano ang gusto ninyo magiging kulay ng chef uniform ninyo. For example po, gusto ko ang chef uniform ko, ang lining niya is green, ang lining niya is yellow. Pwede po yun. So, gagawa po kayo ng as is ganito po. May tanong po ba tayo? Pero, nire-required ko po na meron po kayo nung una kong sinow. Dapat po meron kayong ganito, meron kayong logo, may title, meron kayong pangalan ninyo, may tagline, may logo. Tapos kailangan sa pinakababa po dito, kukunin niyo po kung saan yun, lalagay niyo po yung reference. Okay, so www. May ganun po, sabihin natin, foodlove.com. May ganun po. Naintindihan po ba? Ibig sabihin, sa kanya nang galing yung itong kinuha nyo or kinarap nyo para hindi tayo makasuhan ng plagiarizing. May tanong tayo? We have question po.
Wala na po.
So, alam na po yung gagawin.
Yes, ma'am.
Opo.
Okay. So, kung alam na po ang gagawin, so, may I ask all of you to please, okay, bow our head to feel the presence of our dear Lord for our closing prayer po. For our closing prayer po. Okay, so share po ako ng screen. Okay, for the closing prayer po natin. Okay, so let us put ourselves in the presence of our dear Lord and in the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord, for another successful class. We thank you for our teachers who have shared their times and expertise with us. We thank you for our classmates who were our partners in this learning session. We are blessed that in spite of the pandemic, we are able to learn and meet one another online. Thank you for providing a means for us to study through the use of technology. All of these things are not possible without you. May you continue blessing us with your divine wisdom so we could continue to learn while healing. Grant all those who are sick to get well again and those who are well to stay that way. Okay, grant that we could be able to continue learning successfully. May you bless all of those who made this class possible, the admin, the teachers, and everyone who have contributed to the success of our learning process. We ask all this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, do you have any question po for today's class? If you don't have question po, okay, so again, okay, so I copy again and then pakitignan na po yung ating chat. Okay, paki-mute po ng mic.